Hey guys, this is Matt Kalman. Welcome to Beyond Wealth Success Unscripted, the podcast where visionary business founders and leaders open up about their journeys, challenges, and triumphs in the world of business. Stay with us as we give you a sneak peek of this week's inspiring episode.
I think if I could go back, I would tell my younger self to stay the course, stay positive. One of my favorite quotes, I'll recite from Tom Hanks is, "This too shall pass."
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today we're chatting with Jeff Pugh, Vice President of the Prairie Region at TK Elevator, who brings over 25 years of experience across roles from being an elevator mechanic all the way up to executive leadership. Jeff is known for his strengths in team building, operations management, business development, and financial oversight. With extensive expertise in customer service, risk analysis, strategic planning, and leadership development, he excels at creating cohesive, high-performing teams and driving innovation in the elevator industry. So, Jeff, welcome to the show. And do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you're working on?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Very excited to be here. That was a very good summary. I started the industry back in 1999 as a helper. And did my apprenticeship course with SEEP, which is a union-funded educational program. And once I completed that, I became a licensed elevator mechanic to fix elevators. Did everything you could from construction to modernization, which is you take the old stuff out, you put the new stuff in, to service and maintenance, where I spent most of my time as a mechanic. From there, I had an opportunity to move into supervision. So basically, I supervised the guys that were doing what I learned to do in the field. And then from there, an opportunity to get to be the district manager in Ottawa. And I did that for about 8 years before coming out here to Alberta to be the vice president of the Prairie Region. So a little bit of everything from operations to sales and then executive leadership. Really, I measure my success on my team's success, just trying to get the best out of people and what they want to do and what they're good at and their strengths and try and expose those. But that's really what I enjoy doing every day, sitting with my team, coming up with a game plan, really to service our customers, because ultimately that's why we're here. That's what we get paid, is to service our customers.
Okay. And so you've obviously been in this industry a long time, kind of I'd say your whole career. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't see that all that often, where somebody's kind of in one career nowadays for the long haul. And has this been mostly with the same company?
Yes. Yeah. I've been as of February next year, 26, it'll be 23 years with TK Elevator.
Wow. Yeah. So that's a long time to be with one company as well. What do you kind of attribute that to? Because it's just, you just don't see that very often over the last, say, 2-3 decades.
I mean, it's the people. The one thing about industry in general is, whether electrician or HVAC or plumbers, the work is the same. It doesn't matter what company you go to, but for me, it's the people. When you get to know someone, get to know a system, get to know leadership, and of course, the way in which they conduct themselves and the way they do their business. For me, it just carries a lot of the values and the morals that I live by. So that's the main reason. I'm a pretty loyal guy to begin with. It's in my nature. That being said, it's really about the people and the team that we have here, and continue to develop.
Yeah. What do you see as the difference between yourself kind of working from the we'll call it the most entry level role in that helper role all the way up now into executive leadership? What's that like from I'm going to say an educational point of view, and I don't mean educational necessarily as in textbooks, but just the knowledge and growth and learning. What's that like, doing it that way, maybe compared to what a more traditional approach is when somebody is going to school and then they're entering into a leadership role that maybe with a company they don't really know how to do the ins and outs of?
Absolutely. I mean, there's pros and cons to both, right? With formal education, you get different purviews and a different style of education. The way I came up is really, if you think about it from a street value, I started on the street and worked my way up rather. So I got to know the business from the ground up, as far as what does it actually take to fix, maintain elevators, keep my customers happy from a mechanic standpoint, to really understand their needs and their wants. And that kind of progressed into working with my team and training people to really understand how the business is supposed to be run from that level, from a sheer customer service perspective. And I guess is essentially putting the right people in the right places. As a mechanic, I would learn there's guys that have really good strength in certain areas of elevators, some with older technology, newer technology. So you learn that way to really try and manage the expectations via fixing elevators. And then when you get into an executive leadership role, you take that from a different level, but from the branch manager to sales managers to operations managers and right down to the field. So I think coming from the ground up has kind of set the stage for me as far as what does the customer really expect. Um, and not to mention working with the field guys, they kind of know where I've been there, I've done that, I got the t-shirt. So there's a different respect level there as well. When we have a conversation, it's a conversation based on facts and knowledge and experience. And, we've all been there, done that kind of thing. So it kind of gives a different perspective than someone coming from, a high level of education. So I think that's been the advantage.
Yeah, it's funny that the term I just kind of wrote down here was because you said talking about respect. I think in a lot of cases, especially in larger organizations where you've got people in the field working, and then you've got maybe middle management and upper management, and you hear the term corporate a lot,
Mhm.
right? So
Yes.
corporate says this or corporate says this,
Yeah.
and I think in a lot of cases, corporate definitely has a negative connotation most of the time. But I think in a lot of cases it's because it's people that don't know what the hell you're actually doing on the
Yeah.
ground level. So when you got that depth of the intangible knowledge, really, right? It's stuff that you're not going to learn in a textbook when you're
Correct.
in the field doing this. I mean, there's things that you need to learn, obviously, in elevator, being an elevator mechanic and whatnot, but there's a lot of things that you're not going to learn unless you're out in the field doing that. So yeah, I think that depth of knowledge probably leads into a lot of that respect and the maybe that lack of that corporate barrier that you would have then.
That's a really good way of putting it. You talk about the kind of middle manager. Well, I guess I'm kind of the middleman between the field, the office, and then what corporate expects. So I'm able to really translate what corporate wants into a level of understanding for my team, clear expectations, and explaining on both sides as to why we're doing something. Because you're absolutely right. From a corporate perspective, it's like, oh, corporate's this and corporate's that. Well, we're a business, and any business has to make money. And more importantly, what can I do to set the expectations clear on what your role does for our business, whether that's a mechanic or administrator or someone in sales. Everyone has a very pivotal role in the success of the business. So that's really what I enjoy doing the most is getting people to a place where they're very comfortable doing what they're doing. They enjoy doing what they're doing, and it's a huge team thing for me. We are culture is everything, really, and that's what we're trying to do here, especially in Calgary or Ottawa, where I came from originally. It was really just getting the culture right. Safety is super important to us, critical actually. And coming from the field, I understand what these guys do, and they need support. If they don't feel supported, then it's a different game altogether. So I think safety is paramount. I actually one accolade I'll say is my region was recently awarded a safety medal or safety plaque for zero recordables in the region. To put that in context, we worked almost 600,000 hours in the Prairie Region without one recordable injury, which basically means that every single day, every single person got home safe. So, if I had to say, what was your favorite part of your career or what, memorable moments, that was it for sure. Getting our people home safe is definitely one of the most important things that we can do. And again, it comes back to the respect and just understanding of what people need and working together, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, congratulations on that, because that's a massive milestone certainly for you guys to achieve, and hope that continues, that success continues in that area. What's the oldest elevator you've ever worked on?
Oh my goodness. The oldest elevator I worked on it was called the Shadow Montebello. It was actually my fourth week in the industry, and it was 1926. As you can imagine, my eyes were popping out of my head. I could not believe what I was looking at and how this thing actually moved people up and down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had the opportunity to work on a lot of those old ones, which, in my opinion, it's just an engineering feat of how these things actually worked. So that was definitely my oldest.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but normally with elevators, like once the elevator's there, it's kind of there, right? And that's why you don't see a lot of modernization going on in them. And there probably is a lot that does happen, but it's like the shaft is there. You're kind of working within this confined space. You can't really make it bigger. So what's that challenge like?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. Once that building is built, it's designed around a certain specification. Again, with modern technology and everything we have nowadays, we can pretty much make anything work. There are certainly, of course, limitations, height and speed and everything like that because of code requirements and everything else.
Right.
But yeah, we're kind of given what we're given, and we work around it. The one thing I'll say about TK Elevator in particular, and really from day one, we're extremely innovative. Research and development and how we move people is a very large passion of this company. We've got technology out there that we're working on that is just absolutely groundbreaking. And when I say groundbreaking, I mean like we're moving elevators sideways now. It's really fantastic. We've got elevators that have there's a product that we have that has two elevators in one shaft. That's really fun. It's really fun to see that kind of innovative development, and really what sets us apart from the competition, if I may say so. We've spent a lot of time and energy in developing not only technology but our people and training. So that's again another reason for the loyalty to this company.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. What's your background, maybe even pre getting into this industry? Like, what was your background like?
I mean, I was 19 when I started. So
You
my
got 19 years of background then.
Yeah, 19 years. I went to college for a couple of years. I got a business diploma in college. Not really knowing what I wanted to do with my life. My dad was an inspector for the city of Ottawa, so he kind of got me on part time with the city. My uncle was actually in the elevator trade and said, "Hey, why don't you join up?" And for me at the time, it was more of a, okay, well, this is a median kind of job until I get to do what I really want to do when I grow up. And then as you learn and understand the business and the industry and how niche it really is, it really becomes attractive. There's not too many people in the world that do this. And when you look at the small markets that I came from, in Ottawa, when I started, there was 200 people that did what I did, which is kind of cool, right? Of course, the business has grown, and as cities continue to grow up, elevators are that much more important. The land is so expensive now. That's why you see these towers going up higher and higher. They're doing a 110-story tower in Toronto right now, which is absolutely amazing. And of course, across the world, you've seen some of these towers. So that's, for my background, it was really, out of high school to college for a couple of years, because I think that's what everyone thought we had to do. And here we are, 25 years later.
Yeah, that's awesome. How has your perspective on leadership changed as you moved from being a mechanic up into this executive role?
So for me, and as I learned, I went from a supervisor to a district manager, moved from basically working with guys that did exactly what I did. So I understood everything from top to bottom, to a more of an executive position as a district manager, which means I'm managing people. And when you go into that level of managing people, you get to learn a whole different perspective on personalities. And I think, and as I progress, it's really about managing personalities. And then, of course, as a vice president, it's more so, right? There's more people under you, less direct reports, but I think that's what it is just managing personalities.
Yeah. I'm going to dive into that one a little bit on the personality side, because, and I've asked this to quite a few people who oversee teams. We have this, multi-generational workforce, and there's always been a multi-generational workforce, but it seems that the way that generational communication has certainly shifted. And I think a lot of that is, the internet coming in the 90s, and social media in the early 2000s. And how do you balance the different communication styles or needs of those multi-generational teams?
That's a great question. Honestly, it's one-on-ones. You got to sit down with them. You got to understand what makes them work. I sit down with my team regularly, not only in a group setting, but on a one-on-one basis. I think it really helps to understand them and what makes them tick. I always say there's two sides to every story, and I know it's a cliche, but perception's a big thing. What I may perceive as something correct or right or a way of doing something, they may not perceive it the same way. So I think getting their perspective on things is super important, and it's actually critical to the success and flow of the business. I also think we're in a time where flexibility is really important. Back in the day, in the old corporate days, it was Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. You didn't get any time off. If you took a sick day, you were shunned. As opposed to today, and my approach specifically is we all have families. We all have lives outside of work. And
Yeah.
if I can manage that and manage that personality and understand that, I will never dock you or, make you take a sick day to go to your son's hockey tournament or a recital. I think the human factor is so important. And I think if you play on the human side of things, you win every single time. Yeah, you're going to get burned and people will take advantage of you. But again, back to my morals and my values is I got a family at home too. And I know what I would like. And I know the way I want to be treated. And that's kind of how I do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Staying on the personal side here, so you started at the industry at 19 years old. Looking back on that, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think if I could go back, I would tell my younger self to stay the course, stay positive. One of my favorite quotes, I'll recite from Tom Hanks is this too shall pass. So even on your worst days with the mechanics that you just didn't get along, this too shall pass. And I use it to this day as well. You have these hard problems or these hard discussions. This too shall pass. And for me, my younger self, stay motivated, stay hungry. I coach my son's hockey team as well. For me, it's all about effort and attitude. You show up with the right effort and attitude, you'll go as far as you want to go in any industry.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Earlier you mentioned the importance of loyalty to you and in your career. How do you balance that loyalty with the personal growth and development?
Yeah, I think again we have conversations, and my conversations are much like I have with my team. Is I have goals for myself, and I talk about that with my senior leadership. They know where I want to be. They know where I want to go. I make sure there's a path that I can go on to get me there, whether
Yeah.
it's further education or whatever the case is. But I think this all stems from expectations. If you don't set expectations, you don't talk about them, then they don't exist.
Yeah. Okay. Staying again, kind of on the personal side, but you mentioned your family and that work-life balance. What do you do? Interests and hobbies outside of the work world?
Well, I'm a father of two. My daughter's 15. My son is 12.
Those
So
sound like really challenging ages.
So you can, yeah, anyone that's got a 15-year-old daughter knows the challenges that comes with that. Very fortunate. I'm married 16 years now, so very supportive wife. She's moved around with me everywhere. She really gave me this opportunity to move out west. Without that support, we can't do it, right? My daughter's in volleyball, club volleyball, so truthfully, outside of work, it's either in a hockey rink or a volleyball gym. I enjoy hockey. I played hockey my entire life, so that's a big passion of mine. But really, it's I guess living vicariously through my kids. I really enjoy being there for them. I really enjoy being there to support them. Like I said, I coach my son's hockey team as well, an assistant coach, I should say. So I just like being part of it. That's really what I do. That's my work-life balance is,
Yeah.
and I really try, and again, back to your previous question about what I tell my younger self is family really has to come first. I made a lot of sacrifices in my earlier days as district manager, working crazy, crazy hours.
Mhm.
And I think, to where I am today is family means everything to me and it means everything to my team. So I use that as a perspective. So family first, make sure you take time to be with your family because ultimately that's why we're working, right? To be with them and support them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I have to throw the corny joke out here, but as somebody who's worked their way up from the ground level, what do you think the most important skills that you have are that has helped you succeed into the role that you're in today?
I think I'm not sure if it's a skill or an emotion, but I'm a passionate guy. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm incredibly hardworking. I don't like to fail, but I think more importantly is I like to see people succeed. So I think for me, it's paying attention to what and listening to what my team is saying, to what my environment is saying, to what my customers are saying, and taking that information and making sure that I can explain, or again, I go back to the set expectations. So I don't think there's any one particular skill. I think it's really just passion,
Mhm.
passion for the role, passion to be better. I want to be better every single day. I'm learning every single day. 25 years, there's still something I see every day. It's like, I didn't see that happening.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think, the one skill I guess I will throw out there is patience. They say patience is a virtue. I think it's a skill. I really do. Because if you can sit back, take in the information without a rash or too quick of a decision, really helps the situation.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, on the passion word that you use there too, you hear that a lot, and I really think of passion as it's this natural drive, like it gives you a natural drive to do something, and when you have that natural drive, you get stuff done, and ultimately that's an important thing is to want to get stuff done and enjoy
Yes.
what you're doing there. What's a fact about elevators that most people wouldn't know?
Well, an interesting one is actually we call them attraction, so roped elevator. The counterweight is actually heavier than the elevator. So
Hmm.
in a real situation, the elevator would actually go up, not down.
Interesting. So now I have another thing to be worried about when I get onto elevators.
To try and ease your mind a little bit, they are considered the safest form of transportation in the world.
I didn't know that.
Billions and billions of trips every day with very little issues, you know, and
Yeah.
I can tell you, even today's the new technology is absolutely incredible. Redundancy after redundancy, these things are so safe. And you know, the one advice I try and give people is before you get on an elevator, make sure you have a book or a phone, and make sure you use the bathroom, because you never know, you know, and that's the reality of it. But truthfully, if it does get stuck, the safest place is in the elevator, you know, and there's always staff. It doesn't matter what company, there's always emergency staff. If it's during the day, there's lots of people there. So yeah, that's definitely one thing to keep in mind.
It kind of reminds me, I'm not sure if you've watched The Office at all, but there's an episode in The Office where I think it's Dwight and Pam get stuck in the elevator together, and with about 30 seconds into that getting stuck in, he's peeing in the corner. It's so bad. So
Yeah.
glad to have
Yeah.
that episode back.
I always joke about the oh my goodness, it escapes me now, the show. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. It was just stopped a few years ago. Penny and Big Bang Theory.
Yes.
Thank you. Big Bang Theory. Every time I watch that show, it's like the elevator is always broken. Like, call me. I can come and have a look at it for you.
Yeah, it's always got the tape over it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Yes, that's funny. That's really funny. Jeff, if somebody wanted to learn more about, you know, you, the company, get to know a little bit more about that, where would they go for that?
Well, the TK Elevator website is fantastic. Google is your best friend for any kind of, you know, really information sourcing. But yeah, to go on the TK Elevator website, it'll steer you through all kinds of different things, from what we're working on to research and development to, you know, careers, all that kind of stuff. And truthfully, from a field perspective, you know, we TK Elevator hire unionized employees, so we are a union-run company from the field perspective. So to get a kind of interest on joining the field that way, you have to contact your local union representative. So it's the International Union of Elevator Constructors. If you go to their website, you can get down to the location you are and get information that way. And it's no different than any other job. You go and you put an application in, they look at it. And it really is based on the market and the amount of work going on.
Yeah.
You know, I can tell you Calgary's really starting to come out of its shell now. Lots of great things happening in the city. Tons of work coming up. Of course, the Calgary, you know, the Scotia Place coming up. Super exciting project for everyone and the city. But yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, Jeff, certainly want to thank you for being on the show. It was quite uplifting. Sorry, had to throw another joke out there for that. When you elevated us.
Lots of ups and downs.
Lots of ups and downs, yes. No, really did enjoy having you on the show today. Certainly want to thank you for your time, and look forward to following up in the future here.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for tuning in to Beyond Wealth, Success Unscripted. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. And if you or someone you know would like to share their journey on the podcast, visit beyondwealthpodcast.com/guest. Until next time, keep striving for success, and we'll see you on the next episode.